Hey everybody, welcome back to Almost Sideways. My name is Adam, and this is Daily Notes, where I sit down with a very special guest and we dissect film. And today we are going to be looking at the 2010 animated film from Marvel, because we hadn't had any Marvel films this year. I figured, let's have an episode dedicated to Marvel animation or Marvel films. And today we're going to be looking at the 2010 film Planet Hulk. I do have a special guest, and I'll have him introduce his channel, but I'm really excited to have him on the episode. So, Everest, introduce your channel and yourself.
Hey everyone, I am Everest, but my channel on YouTube is Archanize. It should be, the first thing that pops up when you search it. And I'm really excited to be here, talk about this movie with Adam, and hopefully everything goes well.
Yeah, perfect. And all his links to his channel will be in the show notes of this podcast, as well as this episode on YouTube. And make sure if you guys want to have a little extra content, check out our podcast links in the show notes, so that all that stuff will be there. We're on Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, and Pandora. So anyway, without further ado, the 2010 film Planet Hulk. I'm a big fan of animated superhero films, but what was your initial reaction like after you finished watching this film?
Okay, so all around, I think it's just like an okay movie. Like I definitely don't start watching it or anything, but it also was not a movie that when I finished it, I was like, wow, that was awesome. And I just can't, it was kind of like all right, that was fun, but nothing really more than that.
I kind of got that same feeling as well. I enjoyed aspects of it. I think it's I think there's a lot of comparisons, especially if you watch these like DC animated films with Batman and Superman and stuff like that. It's really easy to draw comparison to the two different styles of animation. However, regarding a Hulk, we haven't really seen a whole lot of this character like on the big screen before, so it was kind of interesting to see this story play out. A lot of Thor Ragnarok is in this film, quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like they took a lot. I know that this storyline is really big in the comics, the Planet Hulk, and because it leads into World War Z or World War Hulk. Sorry, but unfortunately, I wish I could see maybe expanded more and see maybe that the whole storyline play out to maybe fully grasp this film. But I'm kind of right where there with you that it's just kind of an okay film. I'm excited that I watched it and I saw elements, but that's about what I could say as well. What things did you really enjoy about the movie or the experience?
I think most of the action in here was really fun. I definitely enjoyed those, and just how they examined the whole character with it's been done before with him being that kind of outcast, and no one really likes him, and then people start to understand him. But I still enjoyed it in this film. That's always been a storyline that I've kind of related to, and I think that was good. As well as I really like the story of I can't remember her name, but the leader of Sakaar, his kind of right hand woman. I think she's awesome.
I definitely liked her as well. You can continue. Sorry.
I don't really have much more to say. It's just kind of overall, I like that it wasn't too long. I felt like if they would have maybe extended it, things could have gone worse than they did. So I was happy with the length.
Yeah, it's sitting at about 81 minutes, which is kind of typical for these animated superhero films, because there's a lot of storyline you have to kind of cover into it. I bring up Thor Ragnarok. I think that's the easiest comparison because they bring in so many different aspects from that film into this storyline. I didn't quite realize that was Korg until they mentioned his name, and he's in here.
I legit thought it was Thing. I thought it was Thing at first because he looked pretty orange, and I was like...
Yeah, because there's a shot where they reveal all the competitors. They lift off this chamber. I'm like, is that Thing? Did he is that Thing up there? And no, it was Korg. So that was kind of an interesting, But I also really liked Meek, which Meek was in Thor Ragnarok, but he was a character that was dead. But I enjoyed Meek quite a bit in this movie. I thought he was a lot better, and he was also got more into who his character, instead of just being like a corpse in Thor Ragnarok and Avengers Infinity War. So that was pretty awesome to see, because Meek, I didn't really realize he was such a vital character to this story. But I think the strongest thing for me in this was the opening of the film. I really liked it started off right away. Like Hulks are already on the ship, and you see what is essentially the Illuminati of the leaders of the Marvel. You got Tony Stark there. You got Charles Xavier, Professor X from X-Men. You got the Mr. Fantastic from the Fantastic Four, and you also had Doctor Strange there. That was a pretty cool opening. I liked how all the other characters were silhouetted in that thing, explaining why they have to send off Bruce, and it totally makes sense in the regard because he's untamable. We kind of saw glimpses of that from Avengers Age of Ultron, the live action film, and I definitely liked how this film it's self-contained. It came out before most of the MCU films came out off the ground, and the storyline's been very popularized. So I like how they didn't quite tell this story, but they put some of those elements that really worked well in the live action form.
Yeah, I was definitely expecting them to start out like on Earth and seeing something that Hulk did, which would lead to that, but they just jump right into on the spaceship and he's just going. So I that was definitely interesting.
Yeah, that is true. What did you feel about they expanded some more of Korg's backstory? And if you're just watching, like, I'm not a huge. I like Hulk in a sense, but I wasn't super into his like comics. And there's so many different storylines you have to read to get into. So there's a lot. But what I really loved about this one, they actually expanded some other characters that we have seen in live action form, like Korg, and I enjoyed his kind of backstory as well. What did you think about like his expansion into his character?
I thought it was really good. You know, we got to see Thor in that little flashback, which was pretty cool, along with Beta Ray Bill, who pops up later in the film, and I think he's pretty good in this movie. Because I haven't seen a lot of Beta Ray Bill. We haven't gotten him in the MCU yet, but he's always seemed pretty cool. So that was definitely interesting.
Yeah, the one thing we have seen of Beta Ray Bill was from the MCU. That was in Thor Ragnarok as well. When they first go into the guy, Jeff Goldblum's character, I can't remember his character's name offhand right now, but they go to his palace and you see a bunch of the champions. And you see what looks like Beta Ray Bill up there. Yeah. So that's like the only really.
I think we're gonna get him. Maybe Thor: Love and Thunder.
That'd be pretty cool. I wouldn't mind that. I think he's interesting enough where he deserves to be in a Thor film at least.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about some things that we really liked about the movie. However, I don't feel like it's a perfect film. Was there anything really that you just didn't care for at all?
I definitely think, although I liked Korg's backstory, I think it was a little unnecessary with because they give multiple characters backstory in this one, and I didn't love some of the other gladiators kind of backstories that they gave. I thought they kind of drew the film out a little bit, and I just overall wasn't interested in that as much. And on top of that, once I got maybe like around the halfway point, I did settle into it, but I'm not a huge fan of the art style in this film. And that is a totally subjective thing, but I personally did not love what they chose to go for with that art style.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at like the thumbnail picture or some of the like the big background photos, that art style like is way better than I feel also than the film gives us. It feels kind of bland, it feels like the colors weren't as bright, and I wanted to see a more vibrant world. I guess that's maybe me thinking of it like as a Thor Ragnarok film where those colors were really popped off the screen. However, in this one, I definitely agree with you that the colors were a little bland. It kind of just gives you like kind of a haze over your eyes. You're like, okay, well, this is nothing's really catching my eye here. There's some cool action set pieces here, but it's nothing like vibrant. And I definitely agree with you on that. It is a subjective thing, but comparatively speaking to other, comic book adaptions, those animated films are definitely more entertaining because of the art style.
Mm-hmm. Because in these films, that art style can go a long way because they're not the longest films. They don't always have the best budget. So they really have to try and, really make you you see that story play out and be entertained by it.
Yeah, definitely agree. So if we're bringing up, other animated style films, what kind of other like superhero animated films have you really enjoyed in the past?
One that I like, I don't know if you've seen the animated Death of Superman movie from a couple
Yeah, I
years
did.
ago.
Yeah.
I really like that art style in there. I think when the colors need to be, they're pretty bright, and it just looks cleaner than in this film. I thought this film was kind of mucky with its art style. I'm also a big fan of Batman Under the Red Hood
Yep. That's my
from
favorite one.
I think that came out the same year as this, 2010, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
But I
I'll
do
double
like
check
that
that.
art style.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see the two different studios kind of battle it out. I think that overall live action versions of superhero films, the Marvel Studios has definitely won out there. However, their animated films aren't well known or even popular. Where compared
Yeah,
to the DC animated films, those are really popular. We just had like this big epic film that just came out this year called Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, and that was a
I watched
fantastic
that one.
film.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
did
that
see
was
that.
I really loved that film, and it was crazy because they actually it was fastly paced and actually killed off some characters that were really like I was like shocked by, and then it ties in where like it could where they're gonna go in the future. However, like I've never really been interested enough to check out a Marvel Studios animated film, and I'm not quite sure why. Maybe because of just the images I've seen haven't really popped off the page. But with that said, though, I'm still like, glad that we were able to watch this film because there was so many different aspects that I just wanted to see expanded on, maybe, and then also seen in a live action setting. And knowing that this story is such an epic like first part of a trilogy for Hulk, it's entertaining enough that you can get at least some pieces out of it. But I definitely agree, like some of the backstories didn't necessarily need to be. It felt like padding.
And then another thing, the more final battle in this film, I do really like. I enjoyed it quite a bit. But the one in the Coliseum after they win their third match, it seems like they really build up this like riot that's going to happen when they let out all the slaves, and then it's like a 1 minute thing, and it's kind of over with. They're out. I wanted to see more of that.
Yeah, that was very true. And that could be the runtime too, but maybe they just like, okay, we're gonna go expand on this other warrior's backstory a little bit more, and then that big thing that it definitely felt like they were building towards this big riot thing, and it just kind of like quickly got bypassed really, really quickly. I definitely noticed that. Was there any other things that in this film, other than like Beta Ray Bill, you would kind of be interested in seeing brought to the big screen?
I would like something to be done with the the red leader's kind of woman by his side, because I think she has a really interesting arc in this. She seems like a real warrior. I think they could definitely do something with her because outside of Hulk and Beta Ray Bill, I think she was the one that caught my eye the most in this film.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that as well. I think it's kind of she's like a weird mixture of Gamora and Nebula, kind of like the way she fights, but she was also able to combat the Hulk, which the other two characters, like I just mentioned, I don't think necessarily would be able to do that. There was something about her,
No.
her staff that was able to help fight that as well, and she actually, damn, it was like took the Hulk to its limits at times in this film as well. So
Yeah,
I
she
definitely,
really held her own.
yeah, I definitely agree with that. She's probably, if she was to be brought in, she could be a big fan favorite for this film. I don't know necessarily how you would do that. I think that if they were gonna introduce her, she would probably have to be in like Thor Ragnarok, but Thor Love and Thunder is right there too. They could introduce like because especially they're going out more into space. They could introduce, her race of her creatures or her planet or whatever, and introduce her that way too. That would be really fun and a good little callback to at least this film.
Maybe if not that, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I know it wouldn't be as seamless, but that would maybe be something that could work because they are that space traveling group.
Yeah.
I think it would work best in Thor Love and Thunder, but that film, from what it sounds like to me, has a really stacked group of characters already. So
Yeah, because I've heard the Guardians of the Galaxy are supposed to show up in Love and Thunder as well. Plus, you got Christian Bale apparently in there as I'm assuming the villain. And you got Natalie Portman coming back, so all that story, and yeah, it's gonna be pretty stacked. I don't necessarily know how many new characters I would want because I feel like they would just glance over them. But that's a good call with the Guardians of the Galaxy because they are going to be in space, and I know from my understanding, the only big character they would probably introduce there would be Adam Warlock, which they kind of teased in Guardians 2 in the post-credit scene. So, yeah, I would like to see at least somebody like that, too. And it would come naturally in her if they were able to figure out a way, too. I also really enjoyed the those spore-like creatures at the very end, too, during they were attacking the city. And they were basically like this I guess the best word is a parasite. It crawls into your skin, and we've seen similar things in movies like that, like the Mummy film. Those little beetles that crawled under your skin with the Brendan Fraser Mummy, and they kind of like burrow their way through your body. But seeing that on like live action and seeing like all the tentacles pop out of them too from this like the spore or parasite or whatever was pretty like frightening. I was like, I don't think this would ever happen in a Marvel film because especially how it's big family fare for those films now and big blockbuster stuff too. But seeing that on like a smaller screen in these animated films, that's where they're able to push the boundaries a little bit more than they were able to see in live action. Burrowing like parasite, just destroying this guy, and those drones that are programmed to kill them went after their leader too. So I was like, that was pretty. I was pretty satisfied with how the main leader went out. So so overall, guys, I think we're pretty much just like meh on this film. But if we had to give it a rating, what would you? I don't know how you rate stuff on your channel necessarily, but if you had to give it a rating of some kind based on your scale, what would you give it?
I usually go with movies some letter grades, and I think this one for me would be around like a B-. It's in that range of, I enjoyed it, but it's not something that blew me away, anything like that. C+, B- in there.
Yeah, usually we for us we do like a 4-star rating. I'm thinking I'm gonna go. For me, I would be like a 2.5. Like it's something like there's about a high 2.5, like almost a positive, but it's like there's stuff that kind of held me back. I didn't quite feel like it was perfect or anything like that. So it's something I could recommend if you're a Marvel fan to check out. And there's some very interesting aspects here, but I'm kind of like right in the same B-, C+, but it just couldn't quite get to like the 3-star, like a positive type of thing. But there's still a lot of stuff that I really liked about it. But that art style, I think, was the big hindrance, and some of the padding of the backstories that led to less padding for like certain action elements that happened in the end.
Yeah.
But overall, I am excited that we watched this film because there is a lot of, like I said, a lot of cool aspects that happen. Just didn't expand. Well, that's our review for Planet Hulk, guys. What do you guys think about this film? Did you guys like it? Did you not like it? Do you agree with us? Let us know in the comments section down below. Hit that like button, and also make sure you check out this guy's channel. Let the people know where they can find you again one more time.
So yeah, I'm on YouTube, Archanize. I don't post. I try and post, but I'm doing Mandalorian reviews pretty much every week. I'm enjoying that right now. Some movie stuff, some TV stuff. Just talking about whatever I want. A little bit of sports trickled in there sometimes. So yeah.
He's almost close to 1,000 subscribers, guys. So if you guys are listening to this and want to kind of have a fresh perspective from a younger moviegoer as well, so it's awesome to see different people getting into movies and talking to them. So definitely go over and support his channel. Get him over 1,000 subscribers. Hopefully before this year's up, or shortly going into 2021. That'd be awesome. So definitely to help him out there. And you can also subscribe to us on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, and Stitcher if you want to kind of listen to us on podcast form, or you can subscribe here on YouTube. Again, guys, my name is Adam, and we'll see you later.